Well, welcome and thank you for tuning in to the Yoked podcast today. We're already laughing.
Yes.
So, I'm KC.
And I'm Jermaine.
This psychopath is Jermaine. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here at Yoked, where we are all about building covenant relationships through love and laughter. So, what's going on with us?
Well, people can see us now.
Yes. I'll have to remember that and not do anything socially awkward.
Well, they might like to see that.
No, I don't want anybody to see that.
Oh.
I'm going to be on my best behavior. Yes.
That might last for maybe 2 episodes.
I thought you were going to say 2 minutes. I'm like, yeah, it's more appropriate. More likely it would last 2 minutes.
Well, I was trying to be nice, I think.
I think they love us because we're real. In reality, realistically, it's not going to last.
It's okay.
Anyway.
Doesn't have to.
So, we have our meet and greets coming up.
We do.
So we've been sharing those on Facebook. They're actually on Eventbrite as well. So we're just going out and letting people meet us and find out more about Yoked. Mostly more about Inside Out, which is our counseling and coaching agency.
Yes.
So, we actually do this kind of stuff like seriously. And so, without all like the laughing and joking around that we normally do, we do this, seriously. So we're going to let people come out and meet us and hear more about the workshops that we're going to be offering, all the different things that are coming up in 2020, because I literally blinked and 2019 is over. Like what?
It kind of flew by fairly fast.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of excited for 2020. Just because like the date will change, the year.
Yeah,
I get excited when that happens.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's just gonna change.
2019 did fly by, and but I think 2019, at least so far, it's been a good year.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, we've had ups and downs, and dealt with loss and things of that nature. But overall, it was a good year, and like we talked about on our last episode, you have to find the good in everything, be intentional about seeking the good in everything. And, despite the sad parts of this year, we're still here. We're still doing what we've been called to do. We're still laughing and loving and doing and enjoying that in all the moments that we have it. So,
yeah. And I think this year we were challenged, but this year we grew quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think we got on track to be more aligned. And I think 2020 will just be more of it.
I love that you said that, because my word for the year for 2019 is aligned.
Yes.
Like that's my word of the year. That was my goal. Thank you for acknowledging that we actually made it before the year was out.
Yes.
Yay, that makes me happy.
We did.
So let's get to it, because this episode, there's a bowl of ice cream on the table.
There is. If you can't see, it's a bowl of. There you go. It's kind of melted.
It's starting to melt, but that's okay. Right. It already knows what's up. So it's like, let me just go ahead and get out of here.
It will get consumed quickly.
So as I mentioned a moment ago, this psychopath.
It's all in the name of the podcast and growth and being adventurous.
Adventurous. We're going to call it that. So if you have not heard of this, we're going to tell you more about it, but I just want to show you this thing right here, the one chip challenge. Like, he's been wanting to do this for a year now.
Yeah.
And the time is here. And so, we're going to get to that in just a moment.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
So,
but it ties into our topic for today.
Yes.
So today's topic is how people get caught up in a loop of relationship insanity.
Yes. And so with relationship insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we do this. It's not just, like scientific method or, continually like screwing up grandma's recipe. Like, we do this with relationships too, where we get into relationships with the same kind of people and progress through the relationship in the same way as we did in prior relationships, and somehow expect that this time is going to be different.
Yeah, and it
never is.
No.
It
No.
never is.
No. No.
It ends up the same. And then you're wondering, like, why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah.
Because you're in a loop of relationship insanity.
Yes. And to illustrate that, that's why we got the package.
Don't say we. Don't put we on this. This is why you got. Because
So
you're
yes,
crazy.
I wanted to have a practical real life application. So the idea is, I eat the chip thinking it's going to be different. So if you know me in real life, you know that I enjoy my fair share of spicy foods.
Spicy doesn't begin to describe. I'm just going to take a picture of this. They're going to see. This is going to be my proof that you brought this on yourself, sir.
And so I eat spicy foods quite often, and I enjoy them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so rarely have I ever eaten something so spicy that I'm like, that's just way too hot.
Yeah. And we did the ghost pepper challenge at Buffalo Wild Wings that
Yeah,
time.
they had like or the spicy wing challenge where you have to eat 12 wings in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I did it. I won. I beat it.
But I mean, it was like so crazy. I remember like everybody from the restaurant like came over and like circled you, and they were
Yeah.
like, "I can't believe you're doing this."
And it was back when Periscope was just coming on, so we were on Periscope.
Yes.
And I had people overseas like cheering me on, like, "Yeah, go, go, go."
Yeah.
It was great.
So to put it in perspective, that sauce, like I dipped my finger in it and touched it to my tongue, and all you said to me, you just looked at me and said, "Why would you do that?"
I know she doesn't like spicy food. I know this.
I take the mild sauce at Taco Bell. Okay, this is where I am on the spicy meter. Is I have the mild sauce at Taco Bell. Like our waiter just laughed and went to the back and got a milk carton.
Yeah, I don't know why she did that, but she did.
Putting that in perspective, that sauce, the ghost pepper sauce, was the mild Taco Bell sauce of the hot chip world, of the hot pepper world.
Okay, so yeah.
So yes. So tying this into our talk.
So yeah, I think I can handle this. I'm okay because I've done this before. I know what to expect. I'm gonna be okay. I really am. Yeah.
Yeah. So says you. Okay.
Right.
So do we want to go ahead and get this done so we can get into our episode?
Yeah. So
Yes.
I should have found out a way to do a timer. But so I can see how long
I got a
I can
timer.
go without eating the ice cream.
I got a
So
timer.
the reason for the ice cream is that apparently dairy products like milk and ice cream help to soothe the heat from spicy foods, not water or soda.
No, don't do that.
Soda actually makes it hotter,
Water makes it hotter
and
too.
water just is like not a smart thing to do. So
And I'll tell you this about our relationship. He does things like this. I laugh at him. So, yeah.
Hey.
I hope you're okay.
I don't
I
mind
like
being.
you, so
I'm
I
at
hope
a
you're
point in my life where I do not mind being laughed at. Because most of the time I am laughing at myself.
I'm glad because I'm gonna laugh. Okay, so we got the timer.
Here's
now,
a chip.
Okay, so if y'all are not familiar with this chip, and I think how much did this chip cost? I think it was like $20 or something
Yes,
like that.
but only because they ran out on the actual website, which is like $6 or $7 on the website.
Yeah. So this is the actual chip. It's literally one chip. It's like
Yes.
you eat this one chip. Okay, so let me give you that because I am not getting that anywhere near me. And see, now when this is in the packaging, any last words? Look, they're trying to tell you don't do this.
Well,
And then
so, all right.
Okay.
So, are we ready?
okay.
Am I following the directions?
Yes, so it says to enter the challenge, you have to see how long you can last without reaching for milk or ice cream. Then take a video of your attempt.
Which is what we're doing.
Yes. And then tag Packy Chips on your Instagram feed. Yes. Yes.
We can do that?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to
do
start
this.
the timer and I'm going to it says this has to be in view, so I'm going to also record you on
So
here.
here's what the
so
chip
yeah, this
looks like.
this is what we're doing.
When you open it, you see that? Hopefully you can. So, here's the inside of the chip. All right. So, let's do this. I'm using a napkin, so I don't want to get the stuff on my fingers and then like wipe my eyes and then get spicy stuff in my eye.
Oh my gosh, this
Here's
is
the chip.
terrible.
All right. Ready? All right. Let's go.
I cannot believe you just did that. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you just did that. Is it spicy?
It is.
Oh my.
It is.
Okay, so you ingested it at 40 seconds into this video. So let's your eyes are red.
Mm-hmm.
So let's teach the people about how.
Oh man, it's getting hot.
I snorted.
Oh yeah. It's hard to sit still. It's really hot, and I cannot close my mouth, but it's okay.
Do you think you can still?
We can talk. Let's go. Let's do this.
I can't talk. I'm laughing so hard.
We can talk. Oh God.
Oh Jesus.
I'm gonna have to turn your mic down. Okay, I'll turn. It's so hot. Oh, I feel like Stevie Wonder.
Oh Jesus, my side hurts. Are you okay?
I just gotta breathe through it.
It's been. Oh wait, is that the napkin you used to pick it up?
Yeah, but I use the inside.
Oh Jesus, no! Don't use that. Oh. Oh. You're almost at a minute.
That's it.
Wait, no, don't use that one. I'm scared for you to use that napkin. Here,
Okay.
use this one.
It doesn't matter. And so the way this feels, in case you want to know, my whole mouth, the inside of it is hot, and it is hot. So, like, it's even hot to touch other parts of my mouth. So, to have my tongue touch any other part of my mouth, it just burns more. And then, like, my stomach is hot. Like, I've never experienced that before. I've never experienced where my stomach is hot.
Oh my gosh. Oh Jesus, I can't. Oh,
But I'm trying to go 5 minutes.
Are you
and
serious?
Apparently, I'm not even close to 5 minutes.
You've been there. Oh, actually, no, I lied. I can't do math. You're at 3 minutes.
Okay.
Because I said you ate it at 40 seconds into the video. You're at 3 minutes. Can you do 2 more minutes?
If it keeps subsiding, yes. I mean, it's hot. It's a hot chip.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe you just did that. Okay. So.
Yeah, let's talk.
I think the point is, like, you're just.
Oh. So hot. It is so hot.
I can't. This is like the worst idea ever. Okay.
No, it's not, actually.
Okay. You're almost at 4 minutes. Okay. So, the point of all of this was... I can't talk. So, what he just did with this chip is the same, it's the same thing that we do in relationships.
It's the same thing.
Where we see, the things that we do... they happen over and over and over again, and we think that somehow we're immune to the effects of our actions, even if it's oh my gosh, you're shaking. Oh wow.
Oh,
okay. Oh, you've almost done. You got 30 more seconds.
Okay, 30 more seconds and I'm at ice cream.
But we see, even if it's not our relationship insanity, we see like our parents or our friends or, someone else who is entering these cycles where relationships are dysfunctional or they're painful, they're abusive or whatever, and think that, okay, yes, painful. We think that, okay, I've seen this. I see that 1 and 1 equals 2, but somehow I can change that equation. If I'm 1 and I go in with the same 1, that it's not going to equal 2. I can somehow make it equal 3. Do you want your ice cream now?
Is it at 5 minutes?
You've been past 5 minutes.
Okay, good. Thank you. I made it. Oh my god. Pardon me, please. Go ahead. Oh yes.
Are you seeing stars?
No, I'm feeling relief.
Okay.
Oh god. Just rest in God's salvation and redemption right now. Oh, just pause.
Your head is wet.
I'm not surprised. That is much better. Okay.
Okay, I'll stop recording now.
Okay.
Oh, y'all, that was funny. That was hilarious.
Oh God. I did it.
That was hilarious. Okay.
For the pod. For the pod. All right. Welcome back. So we had to take a very long break. So yeah, I had to regain my composure and find myself. So essentially what happened was
let me stop you. You remember at the beginning of this when I said this psychopath over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even going to tell you what just happened, but just
I am, but
okay. You can tell me because that was so.
No, it's applicable to what we're about to talk about.
I just want to be honest with them about this experience because this, like we're saying, welcome back, but there was like a 2-hour break.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half.
That you didn't die.
Okay, so after the 5 minutes was up, and I ate the ice cream, so I had to stop because, so just speaking on the 1 chip challenge thing, when it's in your mouth, it's hot. But when it gets past your stomach into your intestines, it is painful. And I mean, like, literally painful. Like, she's laughing because...
I'm laughing now because you're alive.
Right. But it's painful. Like, it's in your... I don't even know how to describe the pain. It's nothing.
Hot razors trying to find their way out of your body.
Yeah, it's like nothing I've ever felt before. And I could see how people... I compared... It was worse or maybe about the same as when... my appendix was about to burst, except it was moving through my intestine. Oh. And so, yeah, like I can see how like when people are like in so much pain, they start like calling out to God and trying to, repent of past sins and, ask for forgiveness.
You're like bargaining for your soul.
Basically, you're like anything to make this pain stop. So yeah, that's what happened. So I essentially ended up seeking shelter on a cold floor with clothing removed, and I could not get comfortable. There was some throwing up, and yeah, so it was bad. I will not ever do that again. But that's kind of like what we do when we get ourselves in these relationships. Like we think that, it's going to be cool. I've done something like this before, so I should be okay. And then we go ahead and jump right in. Like the narrative we tell ourselves is, it won't be that bad. It'll be okay. Right.
Right. Or I can do it. Like last time, every other video that I saw people doing this challenge, and like hurling themselves like out of a room. Like, I see what happens to other people, but I'm different. So even if I put myself in the exact same situation, it's not going to be the same result.
Yeah. So like we'll see our friends do something, and we'll see how bad it is for them, but then we'll end up doing the same thing or something similar, getting ourselves into a relationship that we know could be really bad, but we think, it won't be that bad. It'll be okay. Right. Or, I'll just stay with this person I'll just mess with this person until I meet somebody better. Until the next thing comes around.
I did have one of those relationships, and actually the next person was you. But anyway.
Yeah, well, we don't want to tell them to do these things.
No. Don't do it. I'm just saying, I'm just being transparent.
Yeah. Or, you say to yourself, I'm smarter than other people. Mm-hmm. Or if X happens, it'll end. Like, you try to set up like little fake boundaries for yourself.
Right.
Like, if this happens, it'll end. And then, when it happens, you're like, well, I'll stay a little longer.
Or like, no, I said that when this happened, I was going to leave, but it happened, but I don't think I'm supposed to leave, so I'm going to stay here. Like, yeah. I'm just going to keep on doing this. Yeah.
And that's how we kind of get ourselves into this loop of insanity, and we somehow think it's going to be different. Yeah. And it never is.
It is never, ever different. I think the only thing that's different is the person that we're in the insanity loop with.
Like, that may change.
And I mean, and it's not even, it's not even that it's like a different person as in name, appearance, height, all of that stuff, but personality and like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, it's the same person over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because it is very true that you attract what you are. Mm-hmm. And if you are broken and messy and chaotic, that's what you're going to constantly attract. And I saw something somewhere. It was like people who proclaim that I can't stand folks that cause drama are usually the ones that cause all the drama.
They usually are.
So I mean, you're always going to attract, like attracts like. Mm-hmm. So yeah, never different. Nope. Never. It's always going to be the same until you figure out how to break that insanity loop. But we'll get to that in just a moment.
We will.
So we had a couple of like insanity relationships. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, talk about yours because mine's going to take a minute. There were quite a few. There was a big loop.
For me, so when I was dating, it was more so I was, I'd given my life to Christ and I was trying to remain celibate. Mm-hmm. That was my biggest thing.
Right.
And, coming into the church, I was just, kind of blindsided by this whole fornication is a sin thing. I honestly did not know that.
You didn't read that fine?
No, I didn't. I didn't. And, I was baptized. And then after I was baptized, I found out fornication is a sin. I found out exactly what fornication was.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, okay.
It's like, well, I guess I won't use a foreign. I just just go about my business.
Yeah.
I don't need a foreign.
Yeah. And so I was trying to remain celibate in my dating relationships. And there were a few relationships few women that I got involved with romantically that it was just a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because I knew myself. And I was just like, man, it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. But if I tell her on the front end that I'm not doing that's not what I want to do, she'll respect it. And, we can, we'll be okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it didn't work. After the first time, I was like, man, maybe it was just that person. Second time, I was like, man, maybe it was just that person. It never worked out because we ended up always like in a situation to where, we were kissing and it was leading to something different. And
right.
I ended up having to run out, or flee or something, or,
yeah.
on a couple occasions. Like it just happened. So
Yeah.
I was, it just wasn't good. Like I knew going in, like it's going to be very difficult for me to resist the temptation, but I did it anyway.
Right.
And there were a couple of other times where I would let like little annoying things slide.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't really like that, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's annoying, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Thinking that it'll get better, it'll change, or I'll get used to it. I never got used to women that smoked. Never got used to it.
I don't like smokers.
Yeah, not my thing.
I mean, and mostly because, like, this is totally off the topic, but mostly because I'm, so severely asthmatic. I physically cannot handle smoke. So that's never been something that's been attractive to me, and trying to imagine myself being in a relationship with someone who smokes. It's like, you want this cigarette more than you value my life. Mm-hmm. And I think, I think too, that kind of, leads back to where I was in my loop, where, it wasn't a smoker, but the same thing with, the sexual temptations and, fornication and stuff. It was like, I knew this is not what I was supposed to be doing, but I didn't have the willpower, but I'm putting that responsibility on the men, not understanding how sex can be such a powerful driving force for a man. Mm-hmm. And if I tell him that I'm, trying to abstain until I'm married, or trying to be celibate until I'm married, and the guys that I was with were taking that as a challenge, like, you tell me that, but I want to see if you really mean it.
Yep.
And the same thing, you value your sexual conquest more than you value my salvation. Mm-hmm. And thinking that the next guy is going to value it. The next guy is going to value it. The next guy. And they never did, because it was all about immediate gratification and not them not wanting to break the cycle, because they were, getting what they wanted out of the situation.
Yep.
And it was very unfair of me to put that responsibility on them, because say, you can't work out my salvation for me. I've got to do that on my own. So I can't get into a relationship with you saying that I want to be celibate until I'm married and then expecting you to hold that up. Like, you can't do that.
Right.
But I tried many, many times.
Yep.
And the only thing that ever changed was the name and the outward appearance and the height.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep.
So it's just kind of like, even going through that, it's like, what were we thinking? Like, why would we put ourselves in that loop? Like, why do people put themselves into that insanity loop, and not realize like what's going on?
Yeah, I kind of think part of it is that people think that I can go down the same road but correct my mistakes. Mm. And usually that doesn't work. It's
like if you can visualize walking down a path and you step in the exact same steps that were there when you walked that path before, and you expect it to lead you to a different destination.
Yeah. Like you somehow think, okay, I remember where I messed up last time. Let me do something different this time. Mm-hmm. And you may end up doing something different or the same thing, but the outcome is the same. Right.
Right. If you don't change the steps and the actions.
Yeah. If you don't change your direction. Period.
Yeah.
Because you end up, going back with the same kind of person. The outside of the person just looks different.
Yeah.
But I also think people really think that, how should I say this? People really think that it wasn't them. It was the other person. So if I change the person but do the same thing, maybe it'll work out different. That doesn't work. That doesn't work either.
I was like, yeah, no.
That doesn't work either.
No. No, because even when we got together, I think that I was starting to walk the same path that I had walked with other relationships. And for me, the first way that I changed direction when I met you was when I went to therapy, because I realized that I had some stuff that I needed to deal with from the other, from the other relationships. Yeah. And that was the first time I started to step out of that loop, because I needed to understand what was broken and unhealthy within myself before I tried to, go down a path toward you or with you. And if I had not done that, I think it would have ended up the same way, where I was like, okay, I'm in here. I know that if I can have sex with him, then he'll love me. And if he loves me, then he'll marry me. And it was like trying to do something that was not at all the way that relationship should go. But that was like what I had done in my other relationships, and realizing that, okay, if I want this journey to turn out differently, I need to switch directions and go down a different path to find out where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. So like, how do we even get to a point where once we recognize the insanity loop, like how do we stop it or break it?
Well, I mean, so yeah, that's the first thing, is to recognize that you are in an insanity loop. And not saying, I don't want to, use the word insanity by saying like, saying that, you're crazy, but realizing that it's kind of like Groundhog Day. Mm-hmm. Where like every relationship is starting to look the same, and you're wondering why, why do my relationships keep ending up the same way? Now, granted, it has a lot to do with the type of people that you're with, but what is it about you that is attracting this particular person? Because the first thing to realize is that you can't change the other person. You can only change yourself and how you engage in situations and how you react in situations. That's really the only control that you have, is over yourself. So what is it about me that is attracting these kind of people? And what can I do to, steer my path, somewhere else? And I think a big part of that is knowing, I love the phrase, know who you are and whose you are.
Yes.
So you have to own your own self.
Yeah.
And know your worth. So, what about that?
Yeah. So yeah, you have to own your worth to the point where you're confident in what it is you're requiring out of this relationship, not necessarily from the other person, but if you're requiring, just respect in whatever form that means, this other person may try to talk you out of it. They may try to say, well, you're just being insecure, or, you're crazy, or you're paranoid, but if this is something that you truly feel like you deserve, you feel like, well, I deserve, a phone call at this point, or I deserve being treated in this manner, and I'm going to have this standard about myself. Well, own it, and say, this is what I need from this relationship, and if I'm not getting that, well, I can't be in this relationship.
And I don't have a song to go with this one, but
okay. Surprise.
I know, right? But it made me think of, when you were saying that, in my mind, the best movie of all time, White Chicks. The girl, and I should remember her name as many times as I've seen it, but the girl who was like, seeing the boyfriend behind, the other girl's back, and she was like, they were like, girl, you're just a booty call. And, at the end of the movie, she's like, I'm worth more than this. Like, it made me think of that, where she finally stood up for herself and was like, I'm worth more than being called, to come to your house at 3:00 in the morning after everybody else has gone to sleep. And I don't think, no, I wasn't a booty call. No, I've never been a booty call. But, it was still very, disrespectful relationships, where it was just like, I need you to be available when I need you, but there's nothing else that I'm going to invest in this.
Right.
And I think, my first long-term relationship, the guy was cheating on me. And like, I let it happen for a while. And then I finally got to the point where I was like, I don't deserve to be treated like this. And that's when I, had the courage to leave him.
Yeah. And that can be a tough thing to do, because you risk, it's scary to sometimes risk not having that person in your life, because you're like, okay, I could be without this person in my life, or I can be with this person and tolerate this set of circumstances.
Yeah.
Do I want to be with someone and tolerating these set of circumstances, or do I want to be alone? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people choose, well, I just rather be with the person.
Yeah. And I mean, another relationship was, another long-term relationship was where, there was a lot of stuff that was going on that, I was just like, this is not right. Like, there wasn't anything abusive or anything happening, but it was not right, and it was not what I deserved. But I was so caught up in the fear of being by myself and having to start over that I stayed, knowing that it wasn't right, and knowing that I wasn't happy. He was very safe and familiar.
Yep.
For me. So I chose the familiar over my faith, and, not being in that relationship that I knew I wasn't supposed to be in.
Yep.
Because I was scared of, the unknown of, what would it be like to not be with this person.
The pain you know is better than the pain you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We convince ourselves of that. Very much so. So, like you said, when you know that you deserve more, you have to commit to your person, commit to who you are, and commit to your potential. And so a scripture that we were looking at was Proverbs 20, verse 5, where it says, "The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out." So there was a lot of struggle, I think, with us. Well, not struggle, but when we were dating and talking about getting engaged, I think that this is kind of where we were going. At least this is where you were going. I'm not going to take the credit for this, because I was not happy about this at all. Not at all.
I don't know that I was 100% happy about it either. But
I mean, you suggested it because you were very intentional about making sure that this was the right thing for both of us. And so when you know the purposes of your heart, and you are with someone who can help you live out your purpose and your potential, you have to look and see, are you really with a person who is bringing out the best in you, or continuing to suppress that? Like, are you continuing to be in relationships with people who are not pushing you to be the best that you are, pushing you to be all that God would have you to be, because they're trying to keep you, on their level? Like, you were honestly the first person that I dated that was like, okay, there's more for your life, and God wants more for you, and I want to help you see what God has for you. You were the person who broke that insanity loop, which is why we ended up married. But hey, that's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, it drives home the point of, what does this relationship reveal about you? What does this relationship reveal in you? And if it always reveals something ugly, something unattractive, something that's destructive and unhealthy, I would encourage you to question whether you should actually be in that relationship. Right. If you're continuously having to be someone who you don't even like. Right. If you don't even like yourself.
Yeah, that's a big problem, because, it happens. So, and the biggest thing about that is you have to be really brave and step out on faith that the pain that you don't know might actually be better than the pain you do know. And, have faith that there's something better for you.
That's tough. Because as long as I'm dealing with the pain that I do know, I know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I know how to conduct myself. I know how to survive that.
Yeah.
The pain that I don't know, the unfamiliar thing where I have to potentially be by myself. Well, then who do I get to blame for my stuff? Who do I get to point the finger at for my junk?
Right. You know, if I'm by myself, I can't blame the dude I'm dating for me not being able to be celibate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't blame him for, you know, being held back and not living up to my purpose in life. You know, I don't have anybody to blame. So, hey, let me just stay here and put all of this on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as I focus the attention on making the other person improve themselves, well, that means I'm good.
Mm-hmm. So, we're in Proverbs. We're, you know, dealing with the Proverbs at church in our sermon series. And there's so many Proverbs about living with a nagging wife.
Yeah, there are.
So, you know, we're talking about, you know, breaking the cycle of, you know, insanity in relationships. But even in marriage, you can, you know, have different cycles of insanity where you're trying a certain tactic to get something done.
Yep.
And, you know, I brought up the nagging because I think that's, you know, I've even seen it from women in some of my marriage groups where they're saying that, you know, I have a problem with nagging, but I don't know how to not nag my husband because I want him to do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. But if I don't keep on him, he's not going to do that. And, you know, if I nag, like, how are you going to respond? Just, you know, I'm just, as my husband, like, if I'm constantly nagging you, like, what's your natural inclination?
To not come home. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm just, I will stay at work. I'll find a reason to work more hours. Not saying I would necessarily go out and do something just unholy or wrong, but I'll just stay at work.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'll make excuses. I'm going to go to the grocery store and get
Wait,
groceries.
is this why you go to the grocery store at my neck? No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
But I'll find reasons to do other things, you know, that don't involve me being at the house.
Right. So instead of me nagging, if I want to get you to do something for me, like, what should I do?
Well, you may want to do the opposite. Instead of putting yourself in a position of demanding or feeling like or managing. That's one thing as a man that I don't like to be. I don't like to feel like I don't have an option. Mm-hmm. I like options.
Yeah.
But like if you want something, you may want to, 1, do it yourself. 2, put yourself in a position of service to give that person what they need in order to give you what you want.
Mm-hmm. And that's not being manipulative about it. It's just, it's a servant mentality.
Right.
Where it's like, I'm going to, you know, lay myself, you know, down for your needs. And in a, you know, healthy marriage, that sacrificial servant mentality is reciprocated. Mm-hmm. So even as the head of the household, you still have ways that I need to be served. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, it's a give and take kind of thing. So it's not manipulating anybody. It's just a give and take.
Right. Because the reason why it may not be happening is because they're not getting what they need.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, it's a nice cycle. It can be a healthy cycle of service, or it can be a unhealthy cycle.
Yeah.
And where nobody's getting fed, nobody's getting served, nobody's getting what they want.
Right.
Or need.
Right. And the other, like, one big thing that I've seen a lot over the years is where women will get with men, dating them, and then eventually marry them, where they're like, I want my man to be the head of the household, but they're not allowing him to be the head of the household. And that's not a, you know, I need as a woman to let a man lord over me. But if you want a man to be the head of the household, and be the leader, he has to have those responsibilities. Like, I can't come home and do everything and then get mad at you for doing nothing, because I've taken all the responsibility away from you and taken that leadership role away from you. How then can I get mad at you for not doing it when I'm doing it all?
Or when you know, you ask the person to do something and then you want to tell them how to do it.
Yeah.
That drives me up a wall.
And for the record, this is why to this day I do laundry. Because I did not like the way that you sorted laundry. And you didn't like that I didn't like the way you sorted laundry. So you stopped doing laundry. I do laundry now. And I hate doing laundry.
And I don't mind doing laundry. It's just that I don't sort the clothes the way she would sort the clothes.
Right.
And so, like, when I was single, my sorting of the clothes was I'd just throw everything in the washing machine. Actually, the washing machine was my dirty clothes hamper. So it was.
I believe you.
Serious. So, and I washed the colors and the whites together. Nothing ever bled. I mean, unless I just had a new pair of pants or some sort of new piece of clothing, I would wash it, you know, by itself. But once it kind of got, you know, broken in and it was working right, it was working the way I needed to, I was like, there's no point in me separating these clothes because they're not going to bleed with each other. I put the soap in when it was full, washed it. That became my clean clothes. And I got them. Again,
I felt like this was incorrect. And I have been doing laundry for 8 years. That was my fault. Because I took that responsibility away from you, now I do the laundry.
Yes.
But, you know, that's the thing is, you know, oftentimes women are so used to doing, and I mean, it saddens me to see it, but like, women are so used to having to be everything that when they get with, you know, their husband, they're still doing everything. And it's hard for us, and I was talking to somebody about this, you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's hard for us to relinquish control over a situation when we're used to being responsible for it. And I've had to tell, you know, women in, you know, coaching situations that, you know, sometimes you're just going to have to let him mess up. Like, as part of your covenant, you're there for better or worse. And sometimes you're going to have to let your husband mess up and learn from that mistake, because it's a teachable moment. Yeah, it might hurt you, but this is what you signed up for. And I'm not saying, you know, anything that's, you know, going to be dangerous to you or your children or your family, anything of that nature. But, you know, stuff where, like, he forgets to pay the light bill, because I've had this conversation. You know, he forgets to pay the light bill. Well, maybe you might have to sit in the dark for a couple of days and let him realize, okay, I have to take on this responsibility. But if we continue to take that responsibility away from the man and then turn around and say, you need to be the head of the household, why? He's never had to before.
Yeah. And also, like, yes, we as men, we need a lot of grace.
Yeah.
But, you know, women need grace too. Like, as much as, you know, you might feel like you need to do everything, if you're honest with yourself, you don't even do everything right. Sometimes you make mistakes. You just don't tell people. Like, your mistakes are probably just not getting noticed by your spouse. So you might, the same grace and mercy you want shown to you when you make a mistake, you also need to show that same mercy and grace to your spouse.
And I think, you know, in marriage, that's how you start to break those loops of, you know, the back and forth, the, you know, catcalling, fighting, arguing, all that stuff, is by extending grace. Because if you hadn't figured it out, marriage is not about us. This is a relationship that shows the love of Christ here on earth. And as much as God extends grace to us, it's not for us to hold on to it. It's for us to extend it to other people. and the person closest to us to extend that grace to is our spouse. So if you're in a situation where there's something going on in your marriage that, you know, you just don't understand why you're like constantly butting heads on this one, you know, this particular situation, take a step back and figure out, how can I approach this differently so that I get out of this loop, and I start walking down a different path. So yeah. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that.
Well, good. How do you feel about this? You know, all of this and
it's cool.
All this stuff that people can't see.
It's cool.
Okay.
It's cool.
We gonna keep doing it?
Cool.
I guess we'll keep doing it?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
Good. Well, this has been a great episode that took 4 hours to do.
Oh my gosh. I told you not to eat that chip. Oh, I told you not to eat that chip.
But it's okay though. It really is okay. So now that people can see us and people kind of know our faces, they can put the face with the voice. Pretty face. I want to just thank a couple people that had a hand in, you know, getting to this point.
Yeah.
The music you hear, the intro and outro music, was actually done by my high school classmate, Kevin Beckford.
Hello.
And he's a hardworking man up there in Illinois. He lives somewhere up there, I think Elgin, around there. But I want to thank you a lot, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming and helping us out with this, getting us to this point. Thank you for that music. It's great. We love the track. Thank you for being patient with us. I know you did it. You did it and redid it and redid it and redid it. I think you did it probably like 5 times or something like that.
Yeah, that was my fault. My bad.
My bad, before we were like, yes, we like it. I think one time in the text, he was like, I was like, I'm listening to it. Took like 5 minutes. He was like, man, how much listening y'all gonna do? The track is only 60 seconds.
My bad. That was all me. I'm so sorry.
So thank you, Kevin. And I also want to give a shout out to Kelvin and Patrice Woods over at the T-Shirt Lab. See these nice little shirts we got here? They're courtesy of the T-Shirt Lab. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Over there in the Whitehaven area, we appreciate you. The city of Memphis appreciates you, and look forward to doing more business with you in the future. All right.
So that's it. We are out. But so we want to say thank you for checking out our first video.
Oh yeah.
Let us know. Critique us. It's okay. Give us a little grace though. It's the first time.
Yeah. We'll work some things out. I'm pretty sure the next one won't take as long.
Yeah. No more. We don't have any more chips.
No.
But thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you rate us, like us, subscribe. Tell your friends about us. Have them come over and enjoy all of the foolishness that is going to go on over here as we try to impart some love and grace and wisdom about marriage and relationships.
All right. Remember to sign up for the meet and greets that are happening the first week of December.
Yeah.
You can find those on Facebook and on Eventbrite.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.